How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. Now, in today's video, I'm going to break down General Grievous for you guys. Now, I have fully maxed him out. I have fully purple star cards for him, and a lot of people have been asking me just what the best loadout currently is for him. So I'm going to go through all these star cards for you, and I'm going to sort of break them down and go over what I think is the best star cards to use and which ones are best for certain situations. So to start us off, the first star card is Beating Heart. General Grievous has increased maximum health regeneration. Now, this is the one that I always go with because when it comes to Galactic Assault and trying to get kill streaks, having a high health regeneration is huge. Like, anytime you can take damage, you can just run away, and then you don't have to worry about not regenerating that much health because this adds an extra 100 points that you would regenerate. So say you take a hit from a grenade, you can easily just run away and then you can go back to full health. So I like to have this one. Then next up is Sith Trained. General Grievous deals extra damage with his lightsaber attacks but drains 40% more stamina. If you have it fully maxed out, it does 30, which is a pretty significant amount. Now his stamina is really bad regardless. So when I've used this, I haven't really noticed much of a difference in like the amount that the stamina is drained, because either way, I don't know if his block is bugged, but his block doesn't work. Like, I've used his block multiple times in streams, and I'll block, and he can only block for like maybe 2 or 3 blaster hits, and then he's out of stamina anyway. And from what I've noticed, his block doesn't even work. So as I'm blocking those 2 or 3 hits, it's like I'm still taking damage. Like, his stamina is horrible. So going with this card is kind of a no-brainer because you get that extra damage, and his stamina is so bad already that it doesn't even seem like it makes that much of a difference. And this extra damage is huge. If you hit someone in the back, I saw people saying that it does up to like 280 damage, which will just one-shot pretty much all classes. It'll one-shot the assault for sure, officer, it'll one-shot the specialist, should one-shot the heavy if you hit them from behind. And then this card absolutely wrecks heroes. Like, you can just poop on Wookiees, you can poop on heroes. I know it only takes like 3 or 4 hits to kill Yoda, so this is definitely a keeper for me, and I will probably always have this card equipped no matter what game mode I play. If it's Heroes vs. Villains or if it is Galactic Assault, I'm probably going to keep it. The next up is Jedi Killer. General Grievous can target enemies further away when using Thrust Surge. Now, as of recording this video, his Thrust Surge and his Unrelenting Advance are both broken. Like, they don't work. Now there's this little meter that fills up, and it's like a lock-on meter, and when it turns blue, that's supposed to indicate that you are locked on to the target, and then that's when you're supposed to activate Thrust Surge. Well, I couldn't tell you how many times I've done that, and it'll like lock on to the person, but it'll either completely miss or it'll do like 10 damage. So until they fix that card, I would never equip any of these other star cards that have to do with those abilities. And to be honest, when they fix, or if they fix his abilities, with DICE it's kind of hard to tell because there's still bugs in this game that they've yet to fix since launch. So they might never fix his abilities, but if they do, I still probably wouldn't use these star cards just because they are very situational. And when it comes to having star cards, in my opinion, it's better to have a star card that is always available. Like, for example, it would make sense to equip one of these ones for the Claw Rush because that's one of the abilities you're going to use all the time. Like, you always want to make an escape, you can use it to attack, but for example, using a card that would work for Unrelenting Advance, that is a very situational ability, and you're only going to use that a handful of times during the match, so I wouldn't waste the time even equipping a star card for that. But yeah, this one gives you extended reach. I would have to see, like, if they fix it and it actually locks on to its target and it works the way that it's intended, then this could maybe be useful, but it all just depends on how much damage the Thrust Surge actually is supposed to do. If it does a significant amount of damage and it one-shots people, then yeah, this could be pretty handy. But I don't think it will ever be to the point where it will be fixed, like fully, because I mean, I know how dice is. There's still so many abilities that don't work. Like I think this would be a good comparison to Darth Maul's saber throw. They've like tweaked it like 5 or 6 times and it's still not perfect. Like it's so inaccurate, and even when you do hit somebody, it doesn't kill them. Like it should one-shot somebody because it's so hard to hit someone with that ability. I think that this will be very similar to that. I think if they keep tweaking it, it's probably going to just not be that good of an ability, kind of like Darth Maul's saber throw. But who knows? It could be wrong. All right, next is Cowardly Retreat. General Grievous does more damage reduction while Claw Rush is active. Now, I was actually using this one. This is one of the ones I was testing out in Galactic Assault, and it is pretty handy. You can definitely tell the difference in how much damage reduction you have. Like, for example, I was hit with a Stinger pistol, and then I activated Claw Rush, and it took down the Stinger pistol down to 0. Like, it didn't do any damage at all, because it does 1 tick of damage like every second. And with this 90% reduction, it like, I don't know if it just completely nullified it to no damage a second, but yeah, like that's a perfect example of you taking less damage and how it actually works. Because I was really low on health. I had maybe like 5 or 6 health points left, and when I activated this Cowardly Retreat, that Stinger pistol would have normally killed me, but because I had that star card active, it saved my life and it let me continue playing a little bit longer. So this might be a good one to combine with the Cyborg Rage and the Beating Heart, because extra health and less damage is always pretty good. Then we have the Cyborg Rage, which is always a must-have for Galactic Assault, in my opinion, for every hero. When General Grievous defeats an enemy trooper, he gains 20 health. If he defeats an enemy hero, he regains even more. And then you can bump it all the way up to 100, which is pretty good. So that's definitely a must-have if you want to continue to survive and continue a kill streak in Galactic Assault. I don't really see the point of equipping that for heroes versus villains, because I mean, you can just respawn as the hero. The point of this star card is to keep you alive longer, because you can't respawn as a hero in Galactic Assault. So this is a pretty Galactic Assault specific card. Then we have Momentum. Thrust Surge deals more damage. Like I said, this would have to rely on Thrust Surge actually getting fixed. If they fix it to the way that it's supposed to work, then this could be pretty handy. And I mean, if it one-shots people, then it's worth it. If it doesn't one-shot people, then not so much. Like, it would have to one-shot pretty much all infantry before I would consider even equipping this card. And then we have Ceaseless Assault. General Grievous takes less damage while Unrelenting Advance is active. Now, on paper, it sounds like it would be pretty decent. Like, the ability is supposed to reflect all incoming blaster fire and all damage and reflect it back at the enemy. And this star card would make you take even less damage. But this is a very situational ability. You can't use it out in the open. This would be like a tight hallway, kind of like the second phase of Naboo, or you're on the turbo tank on Kashyyyk. Like, you want to be very close quarters to use that ability to begin with, because if anybody gets behind you, you're toast, because it's very hard to deactivate that ability. It slows down your movement, and I couldn't tell you how many times I was in a situation where I tried to use that ability. There was like 3 or 4 people in front of me, and then somebody just rolled through it and then just pooped on me from behind because there was nothing that you could do. I don't think this 40% would make any difference, because, I mean, if someone gets behind you, they're still going to wreck you. And then there's so many things that can break through it. Any rush ability, Luke's rushes can break it. Rey's rush dash can break it. I've seen Yoda break it. It's just currently a really bad ability, and even if they fix it and it does the damage it's supposed to, I still wouldn't equip this, because like I said, it's just a very situational ability. You wouldn't want to use it out in the open, and if anyone gets behind you, you're pretty much toast anyway. So I think it'd be much better to have one of these other star cards equipped that are less situational, and you can see the benefit of it through the entire match. Then we have Deadly Slashes. Grievous inflicts more damage with Unrelenting Advance, which, like I said, it's very situational. It increases it by 40 points. That's a lot of extra damage, but it depends on how often you'd use that. I mean, if you're in a hallway on Naboo on the second phase and everybody's shooting at you, yeah, you might get a few kills, but what's 2 or 3 kills in a very specific situation compared to, say, having the one of those other health cards, or having the Claw Rush upgrade, like the next star card I'm going to talk about, Line Up Weaklings. Like, I'd much rather have damage from an ability that you would use more frequently than one that's situational, so I wouldn't recommend this one either. And then we have lineup weaklings. After one enemy has been hit, Grievous deals more damage with Claw Rush. This is kind of like Raise Dash. Raise Dash has a star card where you hit an opponent and then every opponent after that it stacks more and more damage, so you can wipe out like 5 or 6 people with ease. Now this is kind of similar, it just requires you to hit one person and then everybody after that it just does 50 extra damage. So this can wipe out quite a few people in a row too. When I use Grievous, I often use the Claw Rush as an escape ability, and you can also use it if you time it correctly. You can deactivate it. So what I like to do is run into somebody, deactivate it while they're stunned and knocked over, and then slash them. I very rarely want to use this in a situation where I run through multiple people, because you'll take a lot of damage. So if you could combine this one with the other one, Cowardly Retreat, then maybe that could be a pretty deadly combo. But as for the star cards, in my opinion, I would use any combination of Beating Heart, Sith Trained, Cowardly Retreat, Lineup Weaklings, and Cyborg Rage. And I would just completely avoid the other 4. It really just depends on how well they fix his abilities. Like I said, those are pretty complex abilities, and I don't really see them ever getting perfected when you compare them to some of the other hero abilities that have still not been fixed. I don't think that hero designer is very good at what he does, and he has a hard time fixing things. But yeah, that basically does it for the star cards. When it comes to actual tips on how to use him, I would say be very smart with your plan of attack. Like, always have an escape route planned. Like, he's really quick, he gets low to the ground, he's hard to hit while he's moving around in his like little spider crawly mode. Try to catch people while they're off guard, because you do a lot of damage, but you also take a lot of damage. He has a lot of health, but he can't take very many hits. Like, it's like he takes extra damage for some reason. It's kind of like Boba Fett. Boba Fett can't take hits. So you get hit 2 or 3 times and you're going to be pretty close to death already. So you need to, if you start getting hit, you need to have that Claw Rush ability ready at all times to make a quick escape. So when I got my huge kill streak, I would run into the battle with full health, slash a few people, and then I would escape with Claw Rush, and then I would regen my health, and then just repeat the process. So I use the Claw Rush as a escape maneuver way more often than I use it to attack. And then, like I said, Grievous does a lot more damage when you attack people from behind, and it can one-shot people. So try to run people over, or try to run behind people and then slash them and then make a quick escape. Another tip would be to don't try to block. Like I said, his stamina is very, very low, and unless they buff it, it's not worth trying, because I was in one of the streams, there was a clone jump trooper and I tried to block against him and he just melted through my block and killed me in like an entire clip. Like, I was dead, like I had full health, and he mowed me down and he didn't even overheat his blaster and I was dead. Like, his block is really, really bad, which doesn't make too much sense, because you'd think with his 4 lightsabers he could block a little bit better, but that is basically going to do it for my tips and what star cards you should use. Let me know if you agree with me or disagree with me down in the comments below. Let me know what star cards you guys like to use, if you like to use a different loadout than me. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it helps you guys out and helps you guys get a kill streak. And that is going to do it for me. Be sure to check out another video. Check out my kill streak if you haven't already seen it. I got 82 kills with General Grievous. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
We would be honored if you would join us. You cannot resist